Welcome, friends. If this is your first time here, my name is Troll Ergo Sum. I make weird Path of Exile builds, and I love using triggered skills. I am the creator of the Path of Walking Simulator build series, which focuses pretty much exclusively on triggers, and we need to have a chat about the changes that are going to be coming in the 3.15 patch. Before I get into my thoughts and specifically how this is going to impact my builds, let's have a listen to the wonderful Mr. Chris Wilson explain the changes that are coming.
When we're designing skills for Path of Exile, the mana cost of the skill is a mechanism to allow us to have larger impactful effects. Bigger skills should cost more mana to cast. Unfortunately, this entire mechanism is currently bypassed by triggering skills as this skips their mana cost. This basically means that we can't design really powerful spells. In 3.15, triggering skills through support gems will require paying their mana cost. In fact, sometimes it now costs more than casting the gem by hand. Thankfully though, this isn't very hard with well-constructed characters. Certain support gems that were originally disabled from supporting triggered skills, like Arcane Surge, can now be used to support them. Builds that use triggered skills are some of the most interesting characters in Path of Exile, and they are often the best representation of the craziness that our character customization system allows. We're confident that they are just as powerful as before, but we now have more interesting design space to explore with future skills.
So what will happen to my walking simulator builds? Well, to know for sure, we'll need the gem info and patch notes, but I feel pretty comfortable saying that my prototype build, version 1 and version 2, are likely completely dead. Some rough estimates show that these builds would need mana regen well into the hundreds of mana per second, and that's not taking into account the fact that cast when damage taken will likely get a mana multiplier, and probably a large one at that. I just don't see where to squeeze that much mana regen out of these builds without completely rearranging them. My latest build, version 3, is safe from these changes, but I would be astounded if Fireburst doesn't get hit with a nerf hammer as well, so I fear for the viability of that build too. Now regarding the future of this channel and this project, I still absolutely intend to find a way to make it work and release a version 4 of Path of Walking Simulator this league, but I simply have no idea what it's going to look like yet, and these changes have basically scrapped all of the ideas I had on hand ready to go. So if you want to reward me for my upcoming struggle, consider dropping me a subscription so you can see what abomination I managed to come up with. Regarding the more sweeping balance changes coming with 3.15, I don't really have a lot to say right now that hasn't already been said. There's plenty of other reactions and overreactions out there already, and I'd really like to experience the changes firsthand before, choosing a hill to die on. This is definitely going to be one of the most interesting leagues in a long time, and I'm really looking forward to it. I had a blast playing in the Gauntlet event, and I actually welcome a difficulty increase at this time. But I also realize that different people play the game for different reasons, and these changes are not going to be good for everyone. Now, the expedition mechanic itself looks okay to me. My one big concern is that the placement of explosive charges will get very tedious. The meta playstyle should gravitate towards getting the charges placed quickly to reduce downtime. However, the existence of remnants that could literally make the enemies that spawn immune to the damage you deal will force you to pay attention to where you are placing charges. I fear that the time investment needed to place the charges and to wait for them to detonate is going to require the encounters to feel very rewarding, or they could get stale quickly. I do appreciate that the mechanic adds mobs to every zone, that is always a plus, and that the mechanic has its own special zone to explore that can be traded with other players. Regarding the new vendor systems, the Diablo 2 Guide style gambling should be fun, and the upsell system looks like it could have some very interesting mods. The barter system, however, I think will end up being pretty forgettable unless you are consistently offered nice loot. All in all, I am hyped. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on several of these new skill gems and seeing how far they can be pushed and just really experiencing this new and hopefully improved Path of Exile experience. If you have any specific questions about my builds that I haven't addressed here, just drop a comment and I'll try to get to you. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the queue on Friday.